Well, this is it, my friends. It's been a magical, mystical adventure here on board 2 in Minehead, Reds Bar. We've seen some absolute barnstorming performances over the last 48 hours, but this is the last contest we've got for you, and I'm afraid, after dining at the top table on the sumptuous delights we provide for the last 2 days, you're going to be sent back to feast on the scraps that they've got on the main stage for the final day. We'll see if we can send you on your way with a good one, as the Dutch destroyer Vincent van der Voort takes on Noppy, or the Freeze as he's known nowadays, Danny Noppert. Noppert overcoming Dimitri Vandenberg, the match play runner-up, having seen off Roby John Rodriguez 6-2. In fact, he's only lost 4 legs all weekend. It's been more of a battle for Vincent van der Voort, who we saw on this stage beat Jelle Klaassen 6-4. And then overcame Andy Bolton in a last leg decider. Pretty decent average in that game with Bolton, but he has been very up and down, Vincent, so far this weekend. You would think if he is as inconsistent in this match, Danny Noppert will probably punish him. Oh, Nicholson sat alongside me for this one. Vincent's enjoying himself. That's a really interesting exchange between those two. Because not once, but twice has Kirk Bevins penalised Vincent van der Voort for an underarm throw. I think they were having a bit of a joke about that. I don't expect it to happen a third time. Yeah, happened both at the World Match Play. 100. Once in Blackpool this summer just gone. Once in Milton Keynes, when we had it there, was it Coventry? Where were we? Milton Keynes, that one. Keynes. 58. That was when he enjoyed a run to the quarterfinals, Vincent van der Voort, and it looked like he might go even further. I remember that point that he made towards Kirk Bevins, and he was subsequently reprimanded by the DRA for it. 100. I'll tell you what, if Vincent van der Voort looked at me that way and pointed at my direction, I would run. Kirk doesn't take any nonsense. He may be a massive train-spotting nerd, but he doesn't stand for any nonsense from the players, Kirk Bevins. He will quite happily tell them that he's in charge and his decision goes. Quite right, too. 435. Yeah, I've seen that side of Kirk before when we've been on the same quiz team. He's very authoritative. Yeah, I've seen that side of him when he's trying to ask him to buy around as well, and the answer is no. 85. Suddenly becomes very authoritative, doesn't he? Anyway, Danny Noppert is on a bogey number in this opening leg. Nothing he could do about it. It's because he accidentally strayed into the 5 segment, which he's done that again. 92. That's okay. A lot of people like the 19 start on 233. Not Vincent. And I don't like that last start. I like the 25 till he won 2-8. Because it gives you the out of getting a single first and still the opportunity. 1-2-8 is one of those grubby combo finishes, though, anyway. Sometimes you prefer just to hit the single. Tops for Noppy. Doesn't need to move. Plenty of room to the right. Yeah, nice. Second leg is Vincent to throw first. Game on. Van der Voort has played both of his games in this tournament on this stage. Whereas Danny played his first game here. 60. And he defected to the main stage against Dimitri Vandenberg. But when Danny did play here against Roby John Rodriguez yesterday, he was fabulous. 101.3 average. And that's what you expect to get from the man with resplendent hair and the never-changing black studded earrings. Well, look, Danny Noppert has played on both stages and played very well. 96 average and beaten Dimitri 6-2, and 101 average on this stage, beating Roby John 6-2. Now, Michael van Gerwen has apparently been saying, it's ridiculous we're playing in these conditions, nobody's playing the best game, it's silly. Well, what we have done, we've seen some players play very well. Daryl Gurney's just put in one of the best displays I've seen from Daryl Gurney in a long time. One of the best displays I've seen from anybody in a long time. Now, I know it's different up on that main stage. Ryan Searle said he didn't particularly enjoy it, and he's played a lot better on this stage here this evening, although he wasn't particularly great this afternoon, was he? We have seen some good stuff on the main stage. But yeah, it might be suboptimal. But also,
on the other hand, I'm going to put a counterpoint to you guys. Deal with it.
It's the same for them all.
100.
And it's always cold when you play in Minehead. But look at the flip side, Dan. We went to Prague and it was 66 degrees on stage and they were whinging about that.
It's suboptimal to play in Blackpool. That's not what Danny Noppert was after. He wanted the 11s and he's just gone into the 14s there. So we'll come back looking at double 8 if Vincent lets him. I don't know what kind of mood he is. Charitable?
Games on the second leg, Vincent van der Voort. Third leg is Danny to throw first.
He's never struck me as a charitable dart player. He doesn't like to give legs away. Nobody does. But I think he understands the threat that is Danny Noppert. We're looking at 2 players who have played for their country in the PDC World Cup without success. Van der Voort played with Barneveld.
121
with MVG.
Yeah, and it is quite interesting, that fight to be the Dutch number 2. Now, it's been won pretty conclusively, or has been in recent months, by Dirk van Dijvenbode, but his little slump has allowed Danny Noppert to close the gap. Danny is only... in fact, in this game, Danny Noppert's just going to nip above him. I did not realise it was that close.
Into the top 16 as well.
Yeah. Vincent van der Voort was in the running, but he's a good 60 grand behind those two now. Jeffrey de Zwaan is falling by the minute
58
in that race.
Are you saying that Jeffrey de Zwaan's like a Tetris piece?
He certainly
24.
is struggling at the minute, Jeffrey.
He's going to the qualifier on Monday, as are quite a few good talents. So at this stage, let me wish everybody well on Monday in Barnsley, as they have one last chance to get into the Ali Pali extravaganza. Great recovery there from Vincent, because that first start was wild.
$12 for tops. Tops it is.
72. This new require 91.
Where do you go here if you're Vinny? There, that'll do. You'll fancy this now.
They
weren't in the middle, but they were in the beds that he required.
Vincent to throw first. Game on.
He is still blowing on the interior of his hands to maintain hand warmth. Now, one of the things that I used to do in cold atmospheres is only expose my hand to the elements in a place like this when I needed to. The rest of the time, my hand was in my pocket, trying to maintain the same temperature on my hand at the whole time. I've always struggled with that. When my hand was cold, if it got hot and it fluctuated between 2 temperatures, my hand would swell up. Struggle with that at Alexandra Palace sometimes, because when you go backstage, it's freezing. Yeah,
it is. It's a strange old place, Ali Pali. It can be -5 outside, and then when you're actually in the hall and it's been people in there for a few hours, then it can get roasting, particularly under the TV lights.
It's a bit like Antarctica. You're just outside the clump of king penguins, it's pretty cold. But if you get yourself in the middle of the penguins, snug as a bug in a rug.
Yeah, there's no sort of Goldilocks zone where it's just right, I'm afraid.
Oh, 96.
Well, we won't be here tomorrow for board 2. It'll all be about the main stage, but it really is taking shape very nicely. After 5 legs, Gerwin Price is 3-2 up on Brendan Dolan. And the winner of that one will take on Jose de Souza. Whereas the winner of this one will take on the winner of the last game on the main stage tonight, Humphreys Clayton.
Yeah, it should be a real cracker.
108!
We will let you go and watch that one once we've dealt with this here. Very generous of us, I realise.
60. Danny
Better
requires
set-up
40.
shot from Danny Noppert than Vincent van der Voort from the 220. And Danny can strike back with a break of throw on his favourite double on the board.
No score. Vincent, you require 160.
Unlike his hair transplant guy, not very good work up top from Danny Noppert.
Uh-oh. Ooh. Tell you what, that first
68.
start was so inviting.
Danny require 40.
He'll be really disappointed he didn't get a shot at tops. Does Danny really like tops? Because at the minute he doesn't. 5 misses at it, and he's still got 1 dart left, luckily.
No score.
6 misses at tops,
Vincent, you require
and Van der Voort, who
92.
took out 91 in 2 darts, is looking for 1 extra point to take a 3-1 lead.
Double six.
80.
Just misses outside
require
Vincent
40.
van der Voort. I can't remember the last time I saw Danny Noppert miss 6 clear darts at double top.
Games on the fourth leg. Danny Noppert.
But we're not going to see him miss 7.
Good leg is Danny to throw first. Game on.
Unlucky for some, number 7. But it's 2-2. I wonder what the odds were on 4 games going 10-7 tonight, Dan.
I'm not actually
81.
sure. I've not looked at any of the odds all weekend, to be honest. I'm not actually sure who would have been favourite to win some of the games tonight. I assume
108.
that Ryan Searle and Darryl Gurney may have been underdogs. I think it would have been quite close, but I think they would have made James Wade and Rob Cross as the favourites in those games.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Jose de Sousa definitely would have been the favourite
140.
against Willie O'Connor, and I'm pretty sure Danny Noppert would be the favourite in this encounter.
Again, I would agree. But what we have is a pattern
86.
tonight of people winning 10-7, but every victor has been on the left side of the draw. So that says it would be Vincent winning 10-7, but it's not going to be that simple.
44.
Bullseye, maybe? Yeah, I
105.
think that's a sensible use of the bullseye there. The 120 checkout is a lot more inviting than a 125.
Yeah, the whole scheme of taking the bullseye out of the equation
55.
because it's the smallest double on the board. I love that
120.
tactic, and it's something that I myself has had to learn. It's not the norm. It wasn't the norm when I was growing up.
60.
Well, it's I don't know whether we can attribute it to specific players, but it is the Dutch influence is a big factor, isn't it? And bearing in mind that Michael van Gerwen is one of the prime influencers in the modern game. Of course,
60.
he was kind of mentored, shown the ropes by Vincent himself. I mean, I'm not sure how much we could perhaps credit Vincent for that sort of behaviour. I wouldn't class Vincent as perhaps the
Vincent van der Voort.
most,
Vincent to
what's
throw
the word,
first.
radical counter or
Game
user of the board in the game at all, but it's certainly a Dutch influence in using the bullseye in situations like that.
He wouldn't really want to be classified as a spearhead kind of player. I mean, he was coming through when
100.
Barneveld was already a 2-time world champion.
I mean, Scholten was an enormous player at the time. People forget how good he was, how long he was at the top, and what he achieved.
60.
Yeah, largely forgotten that he's a PDC major champion at the UK Open. And he did a lot more than that.
83.
Absolutely right. The Dutch influence in the 90s came from Scholten and Barneveld.
Yeah, I do sometimes feel he's overlooked as Roland.
140.
He's going to be at the World Seniors event in February, isn't he?
Is he really?
I do believe he's going to be there. I don't know whether he's playing or whether he's just there as an ambassador.
101.
I haven't seen him around for a long time. Can't miss him.
No, certainly can't.
140.
I've got a bit of a question for you. You probably know this, but who was the first Dutch player to play in a PDC World Championship?
Oh, 121. Danny Uruguay, 161.
Bear with me. 161 for Danny Noppert. He's not going to go, and Vincent van der Voort could open up a two-leg gap here for the first time.
Oh, 123. Vincent Uruguay, 96.
This would sting. Everybody fancies a 96.
Has to be double-double. Has to be.
Yeah.
And is magnificent stuff from Vincent van der Voort. Double 18, double top, and doubles his advantage.
Any ideas then?
Nope. I was hoping you'd forgotten because I'm drawing a blank.
140.
I do believe it was Braulio Ranchero.
Oh, I think I have heard that before. Braulio Ranchero, yeah. Which I know sounds like he's made that up, but that is genuinely a darts player, folks.
Lots of players that came out of the Netherlands around that time. Forget about players like Jan van der Rassel, great left-hander. Superb player. Albertino Essers, good player from the Netherlands. We're talking about, with Richard a little bit earlier on, players like Rick Hofstra and Fabian Rosenbrand.
141.
The sheer volume of players coming from such a small country. Incredible stuff. Van der Voort has got the jump on Danny Noppert here. He's not stopping. It might take something like this for Noppert to get back in the match. Van der Voort does take the Shanghai on 20s. He's in early trouble. A bit like Willie O'Connor was against Jose de Souza in the last match.
There's the treble. There's the single.
100.
In some way short on the double, yeah. Whatever that means, Vincent.
Bit of a swan dive. The kind of thing you expect to see from Cameron Menzies.
43. Vincent Uruguay, 20.
Well, that is an entertaining darts player. Good guide. Yeah, you just see that scoot in off the side of that marker. It is 5-2 to Vincent van der Voort. He is averaging round about 96. He is round about 50% on the doubles, a little bit over, in fact.
108.
And he is outplaying Danny Noppert right now. His first two games were characterized by a bit of inconsistency. When he was good, he was very good, but when he was bad, he was pretty average.
60.
Here, there's been far more good than bad from the Dutch destroyer.
Brendan Dolan is leading on the main stage. He's Gerwin Price by 5 legs to 3.
A repeat of their clash at Ali Pali. Nobody got closer to beating Gerwin Price at the World Championship last time out than Brendan Dolan. They were both sat on the same checkout of 72 in the deciding leg of a deciding set. Brendan was still sat on 72 when Price took out double top to win that match, and he went on to claim the World Championship title for the first time and become world #1.
Van der Voort for 6-2. Is the engine of Danny Noppert suffering tonight? Is he running out of fuel?
Vincent Uruguay, 136.
6 darts from here to be assured of the lead at the break.
41.
Well, Danny Noppert hasn't had a dart at doubles since leg 4. The last 3 legs, Vincent van der Voort has picked them all up, and Danny Noppert has not been able to get a chance, let alone take a chance. He's had a look at some finishes. He just hasn't thrown at the outer ring of the bullseye to win a leg.
95.
Let's see if that continues. Well, this time he didn't go double-double.
Danny requires 66.
Sort of understand it. The treble 20 was open, unlike last time when it was blocked, but I did think that he might go for it. Bearing in mind, he's already hit it. Danny Noppert, can he hit double 18? He can.
Danny Noppert.
Noppert still in with a chance of getting into the mid-game break, level in this match.
It's an interesting dynamic, of course, that Van der Voort played the first game on this stage earlier today. That started at 1 p.m.
83.
This game started around 9:30 at night. Danny Noppert played Dimitri Vandenberg after our afternoon session was finished. He's probably just stuck around instead of going back.
Yeah,
Maybe getting a fresh shower, change a shirt.
Danny Noppert probably is. He's just treated this as the same session of darts, if you like. Vincent van der Voort will have gone back. He'd have come back, just reset, restart. It's not an easy thing to do, particularly when they've gone through all the adrenaline highs and lows of going through a big stage game of darts in front of the cameras. But, you know, getting back, he might have even had some kip. I don't know.
A lot of people out there won't really understand about adrenaline crashes. And they're very hard to manage, especially when you've been through a really long weekend. If you look at the champion, for instance, whoever it's going to be tomorrow night will have been through the mill a bit this week. Maybe just ask Gerwin Price how he felt on Monday after the Grand Slam. Most dart players on Mondays after tournaments, day off, they do nothing because they've got no energy. The adrenaline crash the day after a tournament, it really does sap you.
140. Vincent requires 127.
Well, 6 darts from this position for Vincent van der Voort. Double 8.
111.
Well, it's impressive stuff from Big Vinny.
That's good enough so far. And Danny Noppert
60.
is not bringing his A game
16.
so far in this contest. He's averaging 93, but Van der Voort is better. And that's a great shot.
Vincent van der Voort.
He's guaranteed to be ahead going into session 2.
Game on.
Break a throw there as well. If he can hold throw here, he will take a bigger lead into the mid-game break than anybody else has done so far in this evening's session here at Reds Bar.
100.
It is a very difficult task to come back from 7-3 down in a first to 10 match, because effectively Danny Noppert is coming back needing to win that session 7 legs to 2. That is a big ask against a guy who for the last half an hour has been noticeably better than you.
121.
I'd love to know that noise that Vincent van der Voort makes, whether that's a word in Dutch or whether it's just a noise.
I don't know if it translates. I think we all know what it means, whether it is an actual Dutch word or not.
100.
I heard a great piece of sports trivia the other day when Roger Federer's on the tennis court and he gets frustrated. He tends to swear in Romanian, just so he doesn't get cited by the tennis association. You better wise up if they're improving their Romanian.
100.
I mean, classic case of some useful advice coming 10 years too late for you, Nicholson, isn't it? Would have saved you a few bob.
Yeah, my wallet's a bit lighter considering what the DRA have done to me.
108.
Well, the task is a little lighter for Van der Voort after that maximum. He just looks the more energized, and I have to say I'm quite surprised by that, considering the youthfulness of Noppert compared to Van der Voort. But the seasoned guy looks like he's going to be 7-3.
Double 16.
Yeah,
And that puts him 7-3 up. The Dutch destroyer is in a commanding position after the first session of this match. Vincent van der Voort, a semi-finalist in this tournament 7 years ago, has spent the subsequent 6 years going out in round 1 or round 2. This is his best run for a long old time, and it looks like there's no sign of it stopping. Well, the final session here on Redsbar Stage 2 of the Ladbrokes Players Championship Finals. And Danny Noppert has got a big Dutch mountain to climb. He trails 7-3 to Vincent van der Voort as these two players, both former semi-finalists in this particular tournament, fight it out for a spot in the quarter-finals to face either Luke Humphries, the UK Open runner-up this year, or Johnny Clayton, a 4-time winner of major TV titles in 2021 already. Vincent van der Voort is on the brink of reaching the last stage of this event for the first time in 7 years. If he carries on playing like he has done so far, 96.5 average, he has got a fabulous chance of completing the job. Paul Nicholson alongside me for the last knock-ins of this. It could be wrapped up in 3 or 4 legs, this. Danny Noppert will be hoping otherwise.
Absolutely right, Dan. But the doubles have been excellent from Vincent van der Voort.
It's Danny to throw first.
50%. Whereas Danny is almost half of that. Only 3 hits from 11 attempts. But like you said a little bit earlier, in the middle portion of that first session, he wasn't even getting shots at double.
It's the back end of it. There was one leg that he won, that 8th leg, where he had a couple at double 18s for a 66 check out and took it. But either side of that, there was 2 legs after and 3 legs prior where he just didn't even throw at the outer ring. Vincent van der Voort was just a visit ahead of him, constant.
40.
It's a great chance for Vincent to get himself a little bit further up the world rankings and to potentially, and he may be dreaming of it, maybe not right now, but in the back of his mind, of picking up the biggest tournament of his life.
139.
He has won on the European Tour 7 years ago,
Yeah.
but he hasn't won a big major title anywhere.
139.
He has been at the final of the UK Open 14 years ago, but he's still here and still has a chance.
96.
Well, it's an awkward 129 that Danny Noppert has left. Vincent.
85. Danny 129.
148. Hangs in the balance, this leg.
Bullseye. We can't see it.
104.
Well, Kirk Bevins tells us it's not in.
48.
Will this be for 8-3? Just on the wrong side of the wire.
100. Danny required 25.
But these types of chances, post-break, with a 4-leg gap, he must take them.
Yeah,
Job 1 done, on to job 2
Good leg, it's
to get to
Vincent to throw
7-5.
first. Game on.
Well, it is just a hold of throw. Important leg here. Vincent just keeps holding.
96.
He's fine. He can get this done without any stress. It would only be his second victory over Danny Noppert. He was comprehensively beaten quite recently in Leicester at the World Grand Prix by Danny, who won that 3-0.
140.
Very different format. Short format, set play,
81.
double start, whereas this is leg play, longer format, match play. Not to a lot of people that doesn't make any difference, but it really does.
Uh, 81.
Well, if you put it another way, in that first session where Vincent's come away 7-3 up, if it was set play and he was 2 sets to 0 up, then Danny Noppert would probably have been feeling a little bit less stressed coming out. You're never out of it in set play. But when you've got to make up a 4-leg deficit, that is tough.
140.
There are intricacies with the breaks as well. Whether you play on this stage or the main stage, this tournament or maybe the match play where you get breaks after 5 legs, not 10. You've got to play the game
34.
and the breaks.
Danny 140.
All those little intricacies are part of experience, and Vincent's been everywhere in this game. Danny is very seasoned as well as he goes for another one of those. Just stay away from the flight.
100.
It's a lovely single.
You require 150.
And yet again, he's just above that top wire. It's a carbon copy of the previous visit at the back end of the last
40.
leg, and Noppy's already at the double.
And for the 12th leg, Danny Noppert.
Well, that is back-to-back legs for Danny Noppert. And he has broken Van der Voort there as well. And maybe this game could be changing.
Game on.
It's like trying to chop a tree down with a somewhat blunt axe. It's still an axe. And if you have patience and you chip away, it will eventually fall.
140.
The problem is, in that scenario, if Vincent van der Voort is the tree, he can hit the axe back.
Well, he can. But he's going to have to, because Danny Noppert looks revitalised in this second session. And a hold of throw here to cut the gap to just one leg. Yes, Vincent is still in control of the match, but he will be feeling an awful lot different about things.
85.
And this weekend so far has been characterised by Vincent having spells, like good spells and bad spells. Certainly had plenty of average stuff against Jelle Klaassen. Still found a way to win it 6-4.
60.
Once again, Danny looks like he's going to be a visit ahead. That's what Van der Voort was doing earlier.
Then you
So
require
Danny's flipped this around.
161.
It's looking very likely to be 7-6. This one might go the full distance tonight, and we might be getting the first game that isn't 10-7.
That's a very nice setup shot for Danny Noppert. And Vincent van der Voort's not doing a great deal wrong. He's missing just high on the treble, and then he's usually following into that treble 20. But Danny Noppert wants double six. And he gets it, and maybe he's starting to believe that this game is changing, because it's 3 legs on the spin. He is averaging just over 100 in this little spell, and this leg is massively important now.
96.
3 legs that are very similar in nature as well, Dan, because Van der Voort has approached well, but Danny's already been there. That's just brilliant match play.
60.
He will feel the hot breath of Danny Noppert on his neck. He'll be just behind him in his slipstream. The way to get rid of him, to put distance between himself and his opponent, is to have a blistering leg of his own. I think he's going to get company here. Somewhat unfortunate not to be just a couple of points behind him.
What's he going to do here, Vincent? Well, he's not going to leave a finish. That's what's going to happen. Danny Noppert's only hit 180 in this match, so the chances of him leaving a finish himself are small. And now they're 0.
Is this the reprieve that Van der Voort really craved after that 3-leg barrage from Danny Noppert?
93.
You would associate good play in these conditions from someone called the Iceman and someone called the Freeze.
72.
Well, the Freeze is trying his best to stick in this one, but Vincent is still in the driver's seat. Double top for 8-6. And he gets it. Very well done by Vincent van der Voort. Many players could have panicked there, given the circumstances. You mentioned the Iceman. He is having a real battle with Brendan Dolan. He trails 8-7 on the main stage. And Brendan's in a great position to go 9-7 up in that one. The world #1 and world champion, the recent winner of the Grand Slam of darts, could be going out before the final day here in Minehead.
58.
And it is 9-7 to Brendan Dolan, the history maker.
That would maybe be the biggest story of the weekend so far.
135.
And that would make it Dolan de Souza in the quarters.
99.
Just to reiterate, if you are joining us a little late here, the winner of this one will take on either Luke Humphries or Johnny Clayton, which will follow the Gerwyn Price Brendan Dolan match, which is currently on the main stage.
137.
The two former champions of this event are safely into Sunday. The two players that met
129.
on the main stage in 2018 in the final, Gurney and Van Gerwen. And that could happen again. Doesn't have to go bull. And does the right thing to lead tops.
Just a little question posed by Vincent van der Voort here. Noppert has the answer. Well, if he played like this from the start of this match, Vincent van der Voort would have had a tougher assignment. Not saying he wouldn't still be leading in this game, because he's averaging almost 97 himself, Vincent. But Danny has dragged his average up to almost 96 in this second session of the match. Put in 2 or 3 points on it. And the finishing has certainly got a lot better.
Yeah, he's 4-1 up since the break. But there is still a little damage that he has to repair from that first session. And Van der Voort has got the darts here, and if he gets to 9-7, that would mean that Noppert needs to win 3 straight to get through to the last 8 for a second time.
He's got to find the breaker throw. If he doesn't find it here, it's going to have to be perfect from Noppert. Hold, break, and hold to win.
100.
And Danny Noppert could look at the 18s, could look at the bull at some point in this visit. Or he could hit the treble 1, and then the chances of leaving a finish just evaporate immediately.
26.
Oh, no.
That did not go to plan.
Well, that's the thing, you know, 7-3 down at the break. He's played well in this second half of the match, but the problem is when you are 7-3 down in a race to 10, you can afford so few mistakes. And a mistake like that, and lets the leg get away from him. A mistake a couple of legs ago where he couldn't challenge Vincent on his throw, and they quickly mount up and become fatal.
I was wondering whether picking the dart off the floor was a mistake for Vincent van der Voort. He's had back trouble. He didn't miss the 57, and he hasn't missed the top, so he's 9-7 up. Within 1 of the last 8.
Game on.
He's dealt with this very well, Vincent van der Voort, because Danny Noppert has really attacked him. He's threatened. You cannot accuse Danny Noppert of rolling over here in this second session thinking, oh, it's too much, I can't turn this around. He has given it a good go. Played some really good darts. And Vincent van der Voort, just when you thought, oh, could there be a wobble, he's managed to hold it together and keep Danny Noppert just about at arm's length so far.
News from the main stage is that Brendan Dolan is through to the quarterfinals. The world #1 is gone. He can't pick up 2 straight major championships. From Wolverhampton to Minehead, he's off back to Markham in the morning, because Dolan could break his major championship duck tomorrow. He will start in the quarterfinals against de Souza.
Astonishingly, there were almost 50 darts missed at double in that game. Brendan Dolan missed 20, but that was dwarfed by Gerwyn Price missing 27 darts at double. Now, compare and contrast, because these guys, 9-7 so far. Danny Noppert's only missed 10. Vincent's only missed 7. 56% on the doubles. The finishing has been very, very good.
As far as an overall performance is concerned, this is his best performance of the week so far. He's gradually improved every game. 85 against Klassen, 96.96 against Andy Bolton, and this one is almost 100.
Oh, 19 to leave tops, and he's going to force Danny Noppert to reel in the big fish. Or face going out of the tournament with a fourth consecutive 10-7 win on this stage.
Wadey took out 144 to save his skin against Gurney. And we're not going to get a skin saver from Danny Noppert, so it's tops for Van der Voort for the quarterfinals.
Vincent van der Voort. Double 10. And the Dutch destroyer has put in a really, really impressive display. A 10-7 victory to earn his spot in the quarterfinals of a major TV tournament. And the first time he's done that at this particular event for 7 years. The Dutch destroyer so very, very good at picking up ranking money right the way through the year. Came here as the number 27 seed and he's down to the last 8. He will face either Johnny Clayton or Luke Humphreys for a place in the semi-finals here at Butlins Mine, and that'll be tomorrow afternoon over on the main stage. It wraps up our coverage from the last 2 days here at Stage 2 in Red Spa. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, or at least some of you will. The rest of us, we're off to Ali Pali. Have fun.